and welcome back to the House of the Stag Podcast. It's time to talk about George R.R. Martin's appearance on the Game of Thrones podcast, as well as a bit of House of the Dragon news. George, how you been?
Pretty good, how are you?
I'm doing amazing right now. I defeated the Wasps. The battle is over. We have won.
Nice.
It's
Very
fucking
nice.
over. Oh yeah, dude. They liked my office. Let's just say they liked the House of the Stag headquarters. So, George went on the Game of Thrones podcast. And by the way, guys, you should definitely check it out. It's on Spotify as well as Apple Music and pretty much everywhere where you can listen to podcasts. These guys did a phenomenal job and it was a great listen. But I want to focus on two things. And the first one is him actually being close to finishing Tyrion Lannister's story arc. What do you make of that?
So when we're left off with him in the end of Dance, he was about to reach Meereen. So he'll start off meeting Daenerys and end with probably landing in Westeros.
Could be. I mean, it would be kind of too slow if we didn't get to Daenerys leaving for Westeros at least. But then again,
Yeah, I honestly, I feel like they probably have to go further than just landing in Westeros. Probably getting into like the first battle in Westeros or something. Plus, now you're already at what, like 1,300 pages? That's his plan for the next book. So they can definitely go a little beyond, you know?
he also mentions that while he is almost finished with Tyrion, he's not finished with a lot of the other characters, which kind of goes in line with the way he writes. Like, he doesn't write in chronological order.
But if he's through with Tyrion, then he's about done with the mirror and he's not.
Probably. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff that goes into it as well, like with Tyrion.
Yeah,
Okay, I
because
guess
when you're
with
done with Tyrion, then you're definitely getting close to, or you at least you know where Victarion and Barristan go. Barristan is probably gonna die.
Oh, come on. Let the man get back to Westeros. I think it would be so interesting for Barristan to hear about Aegon, about young
Dude,
Griff.
Barristan fighting Jon Con.
Dude, dying of
Let's
grayscale.
go.
Oh, it would actually be very interesting if he betrays Daenerys. Like, imagine he would betray Daenerys because he's fighting for the supposed son of Rhaegar.
Yeah, it's possible.
I don't know, but it's nice to think about. Could be a nice little plot. We will have to wait and see as we always do. George is known to rewrite stuff, so who knows if him being close to finishing Tyrion will stay him being close to finishing Tyrion, if you know what I mean. Like, that could change over time, like comes up with another plot and suddenly he has to rewrite 2 chapters beforehand before certain stuff happens, and it's weird. I imagine it's gotta be horrible to write this book. Yeah, and it also goes in line with the other thing. George mentioned that his publishers might actually want to split Winds of Winter in half, just like they did with Dance with Dragons, which is very interesting. I mean, it was a popular theory for a long time that that's gonna happen because it's kind of unrealistic that George will finish the book series within the next 2 books. Like, there's so much stuff that still needs to happen for him to actually get into the end game. And
Yeah.
what would you think about him splitting the book into 2 parts again?
Anything that makes any word of Winter get published, I'll support, obviously. I don't care if there's no real ending to the first part. I just need to get something. And also because the Battle of Ice is literally going to be the first 50 pages or something. So obviously I'm going to get what I want.
Yeah, that's true. We will probably get our Stannis.
We are like 10 years 11 years into the Battle of Ice, you know, and that's Battle of Ice and Battle of Fire and Battle of Storm's End and the Battle at Old Town are going to be like literally the first half of this book. So we're going to get like all the cool stuff. And afterwards, I don't care.
Oh, you're such a Walking Dead fan. I have to repeat myself here. You really are like one of those Daryl Dixon fanboys. Like, if Daryl dies, we riot. We won't watch the show anymore.
I don't like Walking Dead mainly because they don't care about zombies. I'm the opposite with Game of Thrones. In Game of Thrones, I don't care about the zombies. I care about the people.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Dude, I just realized there is a possibility that I don't like splitting the books.
Huh. How come?
Because the feast was not about Stannis. The Battle of Ice can literally be the next book, and I will absolutely kill myself.
I don't know. I don't know. I think he will definitely resolve that situation in Marine as well as the situation in the North fairly
Yeah,
early on.
he'll have to if he still divides by geography, he'll have to like give us all the nice stuff like Euron, Stannis, Storm's End, and Daenerys.
Yeah, it's gonna be a action-packed book, definitely.
Yeah, maybe leave like River Run for part two or something, and Lady Stoneheart for part two. I can wait for Lady Stoneheart, no problem. And
Uh,
Jamie, I guess I'll sacrifice Jamie, even though he's cool over Battle of Ice. You're not that cool.
well, he actually wrote Brienne and Jamie chapters, or a Brienne or Jamie chapter, just a couple of weeks ago. So he's definitely writing about Lady Stoneheart. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if he actually ends up splitting up the book. He keeps talking about Winds of Winter now. He's getting more and more comfortable.
Yeah, he's being a little chatty lately.
Yeah.
So I think this year he's in a better mood, I guess, more progress.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm done speculating though. I'm I'm not gonna
Yeah, dude.
buy into any more theories on when Winds of Winter will drop because
Yeah. Well,
uh
we can just speculate about what he's working on, like or something, just not about the publication's date, you know?
yeah. What do you think are the parts that he's struggling with still up to this day?
I don't think the North would be that bad, right? I feel like Stannis is pretty straightforward. Maybe at the Wall.
Could be.
Yeah, I feel like Lady Stoneheart is definitely hard to write. And I feel like Aegon shouldn't be that bad. Yeah, I feel like he probably doesn't know what to do with Cersei, especially if Aegon gets the Iron Throne and Cersei's either killed or imprisoned. So Cersei is probably difficult to write.
It's a tricky situation with Aegon because you just introduced him. It's kind of OP to just let him go for the Iron Throne and just let him have it.
Yeah, but also if you spend all this energy and dance to introduce John Connington and Aegon and then kill them off on the first page of the next book, it's also kind of a waste.
Oh, oh no, don't get me wrong.
Either
Don't get me
way.
wrong. He's
Yeah.
definitely going to sit on the Iron Throne, I think. I think he's
Yeah.
going to win.
Yeah, I
The
feel
way
like he
to get
has
there
to.
is-
Otherwise, it's not interesting.
Yeah, I mean, a potential face-off, a potential battle against Daenerys would make for amazing plots.
And also let a Blackfire sit on the throne for once. Jesus, they try so hard. Just let them sit on it for a minute.
Yeah, the hour of
They
the
had such a hard time.
the hour of
Yeah.
the wolf 2.0, I guess. It's just be for a day.
Yeah, like a blood raven invites him to the great choosing and then just chops the dude's head off. It's illegal.
It's illegal. Come on.
Outstanding move, but it's illegal.
It's illegal. Oh man, know your
I
standard.
know.
Man.
Aegon the Fifth was like, yeah, outstanding move, but it is illegal. To the wall you go.
You look
Yeah.
at what that character turned into. It's probably a good thing for him. But yeah, we will have to wait and see how it goes. He also talked about House of the Dragon on the Game of Thrones podcast. He mentioned that House of the Dragon is going to start with the Great Council at Harrenhal. And he also said that they abandoned the idea of doing both versions of the story, Mushrooms and Archmaester Gildane's. Which is gonna be interesting, right? Because on one hand, you don't really know what's gonna happen, even as a book reader, and on the other hand, it's gonna be awesome to speculate about that. Condell and Martin worked on this thing very closely, and I think it's gonna be a mix of things. Like I think House of the Dragon will answer some mysteries that were introduced in Fire and Blood, but also maybe do some things that either Gildane or Mushroom claimed. You still have a few answers to the mysteries, while simultaneously having biased plots. Yeah,
Don't you love how Game of Thrones straight up just like skipped the generation of Targaryens for no reason?
Yeah, I think House of the Dragon is going to be much closer to the source material in that regard. George is actually very impressed of the portrayal of Paddy Considine as Viserys. House of the Dragon made him much more of a tragic figure. It's kind of like the way he praised Osha in Game of Thrones. Kind of the same situation. But that's pretty much it in terms of the Game of Thrones podcast. Again, please check it out. It's a great episode. They did a phenomenal job. And I want to talk about one last thing today, George.
Yeah.
House of the Dragon is woke.
It only becomes a problem if it gets in the way of storytelling. Like Condell made a point where it's not a token minority or something, that somehow the changes will be either net neutral or net benefits to the story, which we can only tell when it comes out. I won't freak out about it as long as, the characters stay true. If the sea snake and everyone is what they're supposed to be and their motivations are consistent, then I won't complain about it.
What I really like about this change is that they did this with George R. R. Martin's approval. I like what these characters look like, all of them so far. I think they're doing a lot of stuff that Game of Thrones didn't bother to do. It already looks like a way more detailed adaptation of some of George R. R. Martin's costumes and the way the armor looks, and so I think they are definitely paying attention to that. But in terms of like House of the Dragon being woke, it's not only about the Valarians. I see a lot of comments about that whole patriarchy thing. I mean, it's a story about Rhaenyra and Rhaenys.
I mean, like, if we're talking about patriarchy, that's like also a major theme in Game of Thrones and the Song of Ice and Fire. Daenerys is fighting the patriarchy, Cersei was fighting the patriarchy, and then Asha and Ariana Martell. These are all like fairly feminist characters.
It's a major theme of the story. It's not like the showrunners of House of the Dragon made that up for diversity or anything. That's
right. That's literally
canon.
One of the major themes of the Dance of Dragons.
The Great Council and everything that follows. That is the origin of the patriarchy in Westeros.
Yeah, because if Rhaenyra was a man, then there will barely be any conflict. Like her father chose her. If that's a man, like most people will fall in line.
Yeah, or if you even go back, like if Rhaenys would have been a man, she would have sat on the Iron Throne. It is the story. Like that is not made up.
Yeah, it's the whole story.
But I feel like
it's not made up.
But I feel like you will have to explain that over and over again to a lot of people over the course of this show. And
I feel like lots of like the critics right now, they themselves aren't all that familiar with the lore. Like I see people are like, yeah, you have to be like super duper inbred to ride a dragon. I'm like, there's so many bastards. Jon Snow rides a dragon, You don't have to be incredibly inbred, and having Valyrian blood helps. But there's all the dragon seed bastards who ride the dragon just fine.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see the perception of this show, and I can't wait for it, man. It's getting closer and closer. It's gonna feel like the good old days when we were all waiting for episodes of Game of Thrones, even if we had problems with Game of Thrones.
I'm a defender of season 8.
Nice.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you my problem with people who don't like season 8?
Go for it.
Yeah, they butchered Dorne in season 5 and Stannis. You didn't care. Like season 6, the Edmure scenes, while I really enjoy them, they're probably my favorite parts of season 6. They're still wrong. And then they had all these problems already. And you were cheering like these greatest show in the world. And now season 8, you complain. No, you don't get to complain. I'm going to just be like, season 8 is the greatest season. Now,
okay. Yeah, I think you can die on that hill alone, brother.
Yeah, my problem with people who hate season 8 are the specific group of people who had no problems. Like they will tell you to shut up when you complain about season 5, and then season 8 crosses the line for them. That's the small subset of people whose opinions I ignore, if you feel me. Frankly, I think season 7 was the worst in general. I don't even care about Bran.
Yeah, I think so too, actually. Yeah. I think season 7
actually
is worse
enjoy the first
8.
half of like season 8, and I like that Winterfell no one does anything episode. I found it really enjoyable.
Yeah, episode 2 is still standing behind that. Episode 2 of season 8 is the best episode since season 4.
Possibly.
Like that,
even though it achieves very little, but
it does nothing. It does nothing.
It does absolutely nothing. But like I feel like the characters are finally having time to breathe and have like actual human dialogue.
Yeah.
That's just great.
Yeah.
And season 8 is underrated. And also most of the problems.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
The problem with season 8 is like most of the problems with it, they already laid the foundation in the earlier 3 seasons. So it's a natural progression rather than them becoming stupid in one day. I'm an enjoyer of why do you think I came out this way? But yeah, ultimately my point is, if you didn't complain about season 5, I don't want to hear about season 8.
Gatekeeping. Yeah. I love that.
Gatekeeping. You can only be a specific type of hater.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. See you in the next one. Take care and see us later.